Right, so what makes perimeter area volume, which is usually number 6? Sometimes they might pair it with the next question, but the last few I see, the whole question is on perimeter area and volume. So what they might do is, what makes this easy, sorry, is most of the formulas on the formula sheet for both multiple choice and structured, you get in here, and the ones you might get is the more basics ones. So the formulas there, you just have to know how to use them. You've seen volume of prism, cylinder, right, pyramid, circumference, which we would have just used in the last question for patterns, length of the arc, area of the sector, those things, those formulas there, right? And again, the other half would be the trigonometry and geometry we would have talked about last time. So here, the radius of each circle in this triangle WXYZ, so it's a rectangle, sorry. The radius of each of the circles is 7, and the circles fit exactly into this triangle as shown. And they want me to show for the first part that the area of this triangle is 2,352 square centimeters. Let me see how we're going to do that though. So obviously the radius has to be the clue. So the radius goes from the center of the circle to the circumference. So that means this side is going to be 7, and then we have an x7 and 7, and then we have an x7 and 7, then we have an x7 and 7. So that take up the whole length of the rectangle. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sevens. So here going to be 56 centimeters for the length. And with the radius, it goes all around the circle. So that means from here to here is also 7 and 7. Here to here, that's the nice thing about the circle. The radius is a line that extends from the center to the circumference. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So here's 42 centimeters. The area rectangle, that's one of the basics ones and not in the formula sheet, is length by width or length by breadth. 56 by 42. And guess what? When I multiply 56 by 42, I get in 2,352 square centimeters. And like I said, it's always nice when they tell you the answer. If I don't get the answer, well, I know I'm not going to get the full marks for it, but I might still get some. It was 2 marks, but this one was easy marks to get. The next part is they want me to calculate the area of the shaded region. So the shaded region are within the rectangle, but outside those circles. So what we really have to do is we already have the area of the rectangle. So the area of the rectangle, we just found that is 2,352. They gave it to us as well. And to get the shaded area, I had to take out each of the area of the circles. And to get the area of one circle, if I'm not sure what the formula is, I could look in my formula sheet. Area of the circle, look the area of the circle here, pi r squared. One of the more basic ones. So pi r squared. What am I going to use pi as? Well, look, they tell me to use pi as 22 over 7. When letters close to numbers, it means multiply. These are basic things you have to know by now. And the radius of that circle, well, the radius was 7. 7 squared means 7 times 7, making everything fractions, so it'll be easier to cancel. Anything to cancel, yes, one pair of 7 is going to cancel out. So the area of one circle is 22 by 7, 154 square centimeters. But how much circles I have inside my triangle taking up space? Because remember, we need to take those out to find the area of the shaded region. So let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So one circle have an area of 154. So 12 circles would take up an area of 12 by 154. I want to multiply that with my calculator, 1,848 square centimeters. So the whole rectangle, taking up an area 2352, and these taking up area 1848. So the spaces in between with shaded will be the area of the shaded region. So the area shaded will be the difference between those two, which is what they want in this question. So the area shaded will be the 2352 minus 1848. I want to minus those two numbers. I have my calculator to use. 504 square centimeters. That was the other easy 3 marks. Had a next one. I think this was a different year. I don't think it was related to that question. This was one where they had pieces, and this time we have a 3D shape, meaning volume once you see these 3-dimensional shapes. And again, tell them I use pi as 22 over 7, meaning I'm going to encounter some curved surface in a little bit. So the diagram shows a rectangular tank, which is really a cuboid, with base 50 and 40, right? That's the length and the width, and the height so far, the water in the tank is 15. Calculate the volume of the water in the tank. So volume of a cuboid, that's not one of the formulas that they're giving you. You need to know that for yourself. Length by breadth by width. sorry, length by breadth by height, or length by width by height. So that'll just be 40 by 50 by 15. I want to multiply that out, 30,000 cubic centimeters. And that's it. I get 2 marks just for knowing what the volume of a cylinder is. What's the volume of a cube? Side by side by side, or side cube. What's the volume of the cylinder? Well, if I can't remember that one might be in the formula sheet, which it is, second formula from the top there, right? But the basic formula is square, rectangle, cube, cuboid. They don't give you those. You're responsible for those yourself. Now, the question getting a little more complicated. That's where the pi coming in, because now we have a cylinder. The cylindrical container shows that we want to fill up the tank with more water. So this cylindrical container, the container when completely filled has a radius of 20. So they give me the R. This is the radius of 20 here, and a height of 21. And what they want is all the water in this container is added in the rectangular tank. Calculate the total volume of water that is now in the tank. So that means I need to find out how much volume in this tank, and they shade it because that means it's full of water. So the volume of cylinder, we'll just show you on that paper there. The volume of a cylinder is pi r squared height, which means pi times r squared times height. Again, they don't write those things for algebra. You have to know that's what it means. When the letters close to the numbers or letters close to each other, it means multiply. They already tell me at the start of the question to use pi as 22 over 7, which means some stuff going to cancel by 7 normally. So that's 22 over 7 times the radius is 20 squared, which means 20 by 20. And the height is 21 centimeters. So I just put in what I know. Pi r squared, which is r by r height. And all of them come from the formula there. Anything can cancel? Yes, 7 cancel into 21, 3. And that's it. I multiply the rest, 22 by 20 by 20 by 3. So the volume of water in that vessel, that cylinder, is 26,400 cubic centimeters. But what they said, the question didn't finish there. That's why it's 3 marks. This would be 2 marks. They said I'm going to take all the water in this and pour it into this. And how much water in this going to have now? So it had... So you want to get the total volume after I pour this water into that cuboid container, rectangular container. So it had 30,000 cubic centimeters, and now I'm going to add this container which held 26,400. So now it has 56,400 cubic centimeters. Again, question going to increase in difficulty now. They want me to show that after I pour the water in, that the new depth of the container reaching a height of 28.2. So they want me to say, after I pour that in, how high the water gone up, was the new height of water in the container, right? So volume is length by breadth by height. We know that already. We want to find height. We know the volume because they tell me the volume, the new volume is 56,400. So we know volume is 56,400. That's how much water in the cylinder at the moment. The length and breadth of my cylinder didn't change because this is length, breadth. The height gonna change. So the length is still 40, the breadth is still 50. I want to figure out the height. So what I'm going to end up with is more algebra. 50 by 40, so I have 2,000 times height, so 2,000 h, we wouldn't call it height, we could call it h, we could call it x, is equal to that, and I want height. So to get rid of anything in maths, we do the reverse. So 2,000 things cost 56,400, so one of them I divide by 2,000, so that whole thing going to cancel out. But what you do to one side, you do to the next, 0 is going to cancel out, 20 into 564.2, and guess what, we get in the answer, because just like before, they tell me the answer already, yeah? I just showing how to get that answer, and if I didn't get it, then I'm not going to get the mark. So it's the working they really want to see for this one. Last part, and again, they get a little more difficult as it goes towards the end, so you have to get the early marks up front. Those upfront marks, you need to get those, but it'll get a little more difficult as you go down. Not that you can't do it, it just will be a little more difficult than before. So now they're saying the vertical height of the tank when it's full is 48 centimeters. So let me just draw back that same tank we have there. I'm going to draw back. So the tank now, we already know, is 40 by 50. And they're saying the height of the tank is really 48 centimeters. That's what they tell me now. When we start off, the water level was as 15. And when we put the cylinder water in it, it jumped up to a height of 28.2, but when it's full all the way to the top, they're saying that's supposed to be 48. Right? So I'll just do back a sketch here. They want to know how many cylinders again I need to pour into this to make it completely filled. So we just find out We have 56,400 cubic centimeters of water, and our cylinders hold 26,400. But what we don't know is how much water this hold when it filled. So again, we have to go back to that volume formula to find out now, because the height change again, if you notice, 40 by 50 by 48. So when this container completely filled to the top, when we multiply all these numbers together, we get in 96,000 cubic centimeters. But right now, we have it filled to a height of 56,000. So we minus out that 56,400 to see how much water again the cylinder could hold. I'm going to minus it out. Again, 39,600 cubic centimeters. So that's how much water it could still hold. And we want to fill it with these cylinders. But these cylinders could hold 26,400 cubic centimeters of water. So I need to see how much 26,400 going to 39,600. So to see how much cylinders we need. Because one cylinder holding 26,400. So I divide it by 26,400. I want to divide it by 26,400. Some big numbers there. 1.5 it boils down to. So that means if I was to pour our next container, it will go up on next 26,400. And then I pour our next half container, it will be full. So 1.5 more cylinders of water to fill the tank. And again, this was the hardest part, and it would have been worth 3 marks, but you could still get part marks along the way, especially for easier formulas. And again, the reason I would recommend this as one of the topics you try is because of the formula sheets. So always double check on your formula sheet, because once you know how to use these formulas, they're given it to you, it's just substitution. All right.